Now, while the war in Ukraine has completed 1 year, India abstained in the United Nations General Assembly on February 23rd on a resolution that underscored the need to reach as soon as possible a comprehensive, just and lasting peace in Ukraine in line with the principles of the UN Charter. Now, the resolution got 141 votes in favour and 7 against, and India was among the 32 countries that abstained.
Mr. President, India remains steadfastly committed to multilateralism and upholds the principles of the UN Charter. We will always call for dialogue and diplomacy as the only viable way out. While we take note of the stated objectives of today's resolution, given its inherent limitations in reaching our desired goal of securing lasting peace, we are constrained to abstain. Thank you.
My colleague Parmeshwar Bawa now joining us for more details on this. Parmeshwar, what is the explanation that India has given to abstain in this vote? It's also not the first time that India has abstained.
Right, Priyanshi. India reiterated its position in the Russia-Ukraine war and actually said that dialogue and diplomacy are the only viable way out. Abstaining from the voting in the United Nations General Assembly, which actually approved a non-binding resolution that calls for Russia to end hostilities in Ukraine and withdraw its forces, our permanent representative to the UN actually quoted our Prime Minister advocating that no solution can ever arrive at the cost of human lives. It's also been called a historic vote at the UNGA, with about 141 voting in favor of the resolution, but 32 abstaining, as you mentioned, including India and China, and 7 actually voting against this resolution. The Assembly demanded Moscow to withdraw from Kyiv immediately, with an appeal for the need to reach comprehensive, just and lasting peace in Ukraine. So the 193-member General Assembly actually adopted the draft resolution put forward by Ukraine as well as its supporters. But our permanent representative to the UN asserted that while India takes note of the stated objective of yesterday's resolution, given its inherent limitations in reaching our desired goal of securing a lasting peace, we are constrained to abstain. This is what Ruchira Kamboj said late on Thursday. Now, quoting Prime Minister Modi, she actually stressed at the UNGA that our Prime Minister's statement that this cannot be an era of wars bears reiteration. Escalation of hostilities and violence is in no one's interest. Instead, an urgent return to the path of dialogue and diplomacy is the way forward, is the tone that India has followed. Also, Ruchira Kamboj said that India's approach to the Ukraine conflict would continue to be people-centric. Also, one mustn't forget that just on Tuesday this week, the head of Ukrainian presidential office, Andriy Yermak, actually spoke about the UN resolution with India's national security advisor, because he said Ukraine is interested in the broadest possible support for the resolution, in particular from the countries of the global south. If we talk about who was against it, Mali, Nicaragua, the Russian Federation, and Eritrea actually voted against this resolution. And as far as abstaining is concerned, India, China, Iran, Sri Lanka, South Africa, Sudan, Kyrgyzstan, Zimbabwe, and Uzbekistan were some of the countries that abstained from the resolution late on Thursday.
Parmeshwar, thanks very much for joining us with those details. So India among 32 countries that have abstained from this very crucial vote, and this just a day ahead of when the war in Ukraine has now completed 1 year and there's no end in sight as to the war as Russian President Vladimir Putin vows to achieve his goals. Now, towns and cities have been devastated. Tens of thousands of civilians and fighters on both sides have been killed and injured, while millions of people have either fled the country or have been internally displaced. Today is the day when 1 year ago, Russian President Vladimir Putin launched his invasion of Ukraine, launched at what he called the special military operation in Ukraine. And today, Ukraine marks the 1 year to the war that was started by Russia with no end in sight. Now moving on to political stories. Hours after his dramatic removal from a flight and then arrest at the Delhi airport, Congress leader Pavan Khera was released on bail last evening. Now he was arrested in a case involving his alleged insult to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now he said, "I was asked to deplane as if I was a terrorist. It can happen to anyone tomorrow." That's what he said after being freed from the police lockup. Now nearly 50 Congress leaders launched a rare protest on the Delhi airport tarmac yesterday yesterday morning after Mr. Pavan Khera was asked to get off a flight from Raipur. He was heading to Chhattisgarh for a 2-day Congress plenary session meeting. So those are the dramatic visuals that you're seeing of the Congress protest that played out yesterday, after which Pavan Khera was arrested. Then the Supreme Court gave him a relief by giving him an interim bail, after which Pavan Khera was released in the evening. And in fact, let's just look at the timeline of what happened yesterday in what can be called a 6-hour political thriller drama of arrest, bail, and everything in between. At around 12:30 p.m., Pavan Khera was deboarded from his flight to Raipur, and Indigo said that Pavan Khera was deplaned as asked by the police. Several Congress leaders got off the flight with Khera. Now, at around 12:30 to 1:30 p.m., there was high drama on the tarmac, and Congress leaders staged a sit-in protest on the tarmac, and Congress leaders were seen arguing with the cops as well. Now at around 1:30 p.m., Pavan Khera was arrested by the Assam police from the airport. Khera was arrested over his comments that allegedly insulted Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his father. Now at around 2 p.m., the Congress moved the Supreme Court against Pavan Khera's arrest, and around 3 p.m., the Chief Justice-led bench heard Congress's petition on Pavan Khera. At 3:30 p.m., the Chief Justice-led bench gave interim bail to Pavan Khera, and the Chief Justice said that Khera has apologized and he will issue an unconditional apology as well. The CJI also gave a notice to Assam and UP on clubbing of FIRs against Pavan Khera, and at around 6:30 p.m., Congress leader Pavan Khera walked out on bail.
We right now have with us Pavan Khera, senior Congress leader, the man of the hour. Sir, thank you for speaking to NDTV. आपको finally bail मिल गया है. How do you see this entire case against yourself?
This is the victory of the legal process of this country, of this great democracy called India, which we are trying to uphold and fight for.
So finally, are you going to Raipur, sir?
Yes, of course.
Tomorrow morning, is it?
I'm trying to go tonight, otherwise tomorrow morning.
So, the Supreme Court said there needs to be some kind of discourse even in the political sphere. The comments you made, was it a slip of the tongue?
I will not comment on that right now, since it's a sub judice matter. All that I want to say is that the majesty of law has upheld my rights, my liberties.
So the Congress leaders are saying that it's a attack on the fundamental rights. Do you see?
Absolutely, they are right. Absolutely. Without any FIR copy being given to me, without any notice being served on me, I was asked to deplane as if I was a terrorist.
Many Congress leaders are also saying it looks like a unsaid emergency, you know.
You know what's happening around. This is not the only example of people's rights and liberties being curtailed. Today it's me, tomorrow it could be anyone.
Now, Mr. Pavan Khera was in fact arrested by the Assam police, and my colleague Vedant spoke to Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma on Pavan Khera's address, and he refuted allegations of a clampdown. Listen in.
Sarma sir, you've been campaigning in Nagaland for the BJP alliance, and one of the charges on the BJP is that, you know, the kind of appealing to Christians here. Of course, they are a majority here. So the church and, you know, many sections of society have alleged that this is just symbolic and this is tokenistic.
I mean, don't go by that. People of Nagaland has voted earlier for BJP. This year also they are going to vote for BJP.
Right.
We are seeking vote for development. We are seeking vote for peace and stability. And I have 100% confidence that people of Nagaland will vote for us.
Right. So while you campaign in Nagaland for the BJP alliance, the big story back in Delhi was the arrest of Mr. Pavan Khera. And, you know, the kind of, do you think the kind of overdrive that Assam police went into arresting him, do you think it was arresting him from the tarmac? And
No. I mean, how somebody has been arrested, what procedure followed is a different thing. But if a FIR is come and is registered under a relevant section of law, police is duty bound to arrest the person. Now, whether he is in sky or whether he is in earth. So if an offence has been committed, police has to arrest him. We don't go by the manner.
Right. My last question to you, sir, the kind of overdrive that Assam police has gone into, you know, in this kind of clampdown on the opposition leaders, whether it was Jignesh Mevani, now,
What is clamp down? Can you abuse a father? Because I said something about father of a leader, Congress has filed 130 FIR against me in Telangana. So what is about that?
Right.
So just you be reassured that whenever an offence is committed, there will be clampdown.
Now, amid these controversies, the three-day plenary session of the Congress party will begin starting today in Raipur in Chhattisgarh. And during the plenary session, the Congress has said its top brass will deliberate and give direction on ways to forge opposition unity and chart a roadmap for the upcoming elections and for 2022 as well. Now, the Congress Steering Committee, which is the highest policy body of the Congress party, will take a political call on whether elections for the Congress Working Committee will be held. Elections are required to be held for 12 posts, and the party is split on whether an election should be held. The party will also firm up its political stand on leading an alternate opposition alliance. The party president Mallikarjun Kharge has already stated that the Congress should lead the alliance, but the party is well aware of the resistance from regional players and also the cracks that exist within the opposition unity. Nagaland is set to go to polls in just 3 days from now. Now, the BJP has entered into a pre-poll alliance with the National Democratic Progressive Party, which is one of the strongest regional parties in Nagaland. The Congress, on the other hand, which failed to open its account in the last elections, has accused the BJP of minority appeasement with a strong Christian Chief Minister face. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will campaign in Nagaland today and address a public meeting in Dimapur as well. My colleague Vedant now joining us for the latest from Nagaland. And Vedant, the Prime Minister expected there at around 10 a.m. where he will address a public meeting. So the campaigning in Nagaland really escalating from now.
Well, absolutely, Priyanshi. It's been a high voltage campaign here in the northeast, not just Nagaland, but of course in Meghalaya and Tripura as well. And today the Prime Minister will be here in Dimapur. It's the commercial capital of Nagaland, and of course a lot of color and traditional song and dance here as well. And as far as the politics is concerned here, Priyanshi, remember Nagaland has really become like a hotbed of political jibes because Mr. Kharge, of course, also took jibes at the BJP. Amit Shah was here, of course, and he talked about a lot of things. He talked about the resolution of the Naga political issue. He talked about settling the demands of the eastern provinces of Nagaland, which demand a separate state. And of course, the Nagaland political issue has been impending. People in Nagaland here, separatist movements have been demanding a separate flag and constitution. So of course, the BJP has promised a resolution to all of that. And as you rightly mentioned, the BJP has entered into a pre-poll alliance with the NDPP. In fact, I have the NDPP MLA here, local MLA here joining us. Sir, many thanks for speaking to us. The BJP has entered into a pre-poll alliance with the NDPP. NDPP is seen as a very strong party that that champions the cause of Christian interests. A lot of people would say, not just in Nagaland but outside as well, that the BJP doesn't have the best interests of the minorities. So as as a member of the NDPP, how would you respond to that claim?
BJP under Modi's leadership actually is looking into every aspect of the people, especially farmers.
But particularly with regard to minorities and Christians.
Christians, actually, yes, we have a feeling that some elements within the BJP or its alliance are, prosecuting the Christians all over India.
Right.
So that feeling we don't really appreciate.
Right. All right. So that's an important comment coming from, a local MLA who says that, of course, the NDPP is an alliance with the BJP, but they also think that there are certain communal forces within the BJP as well. We also spoke to the Nagaland Chief Minister about similar questions and much more. Just listen in. Sir, the BJP and NDPP alliance is looking to come back to Nagaland with a thumping majority. But one of the charges really by many people has been that this kind of appeal to Christians has been a bit tokenistic here by the BJP. What do you have to say about that?
Well, in Nagaland there are many issues. And Nagaland being a Christian-dominated state. And that's how I feel, because of the unique history of the Nagas and the Christian-dominated state. BJP had, how powerful they are, biggest party in the world, and biggest democracy in the world. Now they had respected the Nagas and respected the majority of Christians in
So
the
you
state.
think it's not tokenistic?
No, because we are seat sharing also.
Right.
We have become the major partner and they played a minor partner.
Right.
And also proposed and announced that the NDTV leader, that is me, to be the chief minister candidate.
Welcome back. Now there's new information on the horrific murder of two men in Haryana's Bhiwani. The two men whose bodies were found in a burned SUV in Haryana's Bhiwani were in fact driven around for 20 hours and killed somewhere on the way. That's what sources have told NDTV. Now, it is possible that one of the two groups of car vigilantes involved had murdered them. Junaid and Nasir, who were residents of Rajasthan's Bharatpur, were kidnapped on February 15th. Now, their bodies were found 2 days later in that charred car, and there were allegations that Junaid was involved in cattle smuggling. 5 cases were registered against him as well, according to the Haryana police. Now, sources also said that instead of one, there were 2 separate groups of car vigilantes that are involved in the murder of Nasir and Junaid. Now, moving on to the other big story, the first G20 meeting of finance ministers of the G20 countries and also central bank governors. That meeting has officially started in Bengaluru today. Now, the first day of the meeting will focus on issues relating to international finance, international financial architecture, sustainable finance, infrastructure, financial sector, and financial inclusion as well. Now, yesterday, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman met her counterparts from the United States and other G20 nations ahead of the meet officially beginning. The finance minister raised issues of energy transition, crypto and global debt. Meanwhile, US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen focused on the damage caused by the war in Ukraine.
The first big set of meetings in India's G20. Some of the world's most powerful finance ministers and bank governors in India's IT capital, Bengaluru, including the finance ministers of Japan, Italy, the US Treasury Secretary, and the managing director of the International Monetary Fund.
Forward.
Concerns over Ukraine were top priority, with the US making it clear they were backing Kyiv for as long as possible.
As it takes. Putin's war has been a strategic failure for the Kremlin. Ukraine still stands, and NATO and our global coalition stand united behind it. Our twin goals are to degrade Russia's military-industrial complex and reduce the revenues that it can use to fund its war. As President Biden has said, we will stand with Ukraine in its fight for as long as it takes.
The US position on Ukraine is in stark contrast with India, which is buying oil from Russia and which balances its relationship with Russia and Ukraine. As far as the economy is concerned, India remains a bright spot. The International Monetary Fund says India will have a high growth rate of 6.8% for the year ending in March. Next financial year, the IMF projects 6.1 for India, still way above the global average. India will provide 15% global growth in 2023. Today's meeting of finance ministers comes ahead of a crucial meeting of some of the world's most important foreign ministers who will be here early next month for the G20 meetings. This includes Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. India has emerged as a voice through G20 to discuss the financial distress faced by the world caused by the war. And other major issues that remain as a top priority on discussion is also especially strengthening the development bank and also the vulnerability debt, the global vulnerability debt, more importantly, economy-related issues to solve through especially digital economy and climate tracking. At G20 in Bengaluru with Kumar Shrija for NDTV.
Welcome back. Delhi's Municipal Cooperation House is going to reconvene today for the standing committee polls. Now, the elections have been stalled amid ruckus in the House. You must have seen those visuals that played out yesterday and day before. The House was adjourned 13 times yesterday and the night before after absolutely shocking scenes played out in the Civic Centre. Councillors were seen throwing plastic bottles on each other. Some were practically wrestling with each other. And the BJP's mayor candidate, Rekha Gupta, was in fact seen breaking a mic. So the elections had been stalled after that, and now the House is going to reconvene at around 10 a.m. For the standing committee polls. Now moving on, in poll-bound Meghalaya, campaigning is escalating with the state going to polls on February 27th. And in the state capital Shillong, music, which is a part of everyday life, is being used widely by political parties and even the Election Commission to attract voters. NDTV's Ratnadeep Chaudhary caught up with rock-on fame band Somersault. Listen into what they said.
We are joined by one of the biggest rock bands of Meghalaya, Somersault. Can I get your name and if you can introduce your other band members?
My name is Kit Shangpleang, and we have, Pinsuk to my right, and we have Ador, to my left. So there are 7 of us, but, today everyone is so busy with a lot of things. And yeah, it's been a very, very meaningful journey for us, working closely with the Chief Electoral Officer, Meghalaya, and of course, the Election Commission of India. So this is the song that we wrote very recently, and it is a music video. And there are all of these 6 wheels of democracy, basically 6 messages that Election Commission of India, want across the country for people to understand. And these are, women, senior citizens, and then persons with disabilities, EVM, VVPAT, ethical voting, and I forgot the other one, but there are these 6 wheels of democracy. That's vote for sure is also the slogan of ECI this year. They have a slogan that says, nothing like voting, I vote for sure. So we've sort of salvaged, the slogan and make it into a song, and it goes something like this: vote, vote, vote for sure. Nothing like voting together we soar. Vote, vote, vote for now, so all of us can win somehow. Oh, oh,
oh. You are a young artist, you are a young musician, you're a voter yourself, a Shillongite. So for Shillong, for the Shillong Metropole, for Meghalaya, what are the issues that you want your new government to address?
First of all, see, as a musician, we played a very important role to for the people, so that because we compose songs that people, they are aware of, especially when this 27 will come. So we want the people to to vote for the right people, so that when they are there in the government, so they will they will look at the issues that we are facing, the problem that we are facing right now. Okay, so job problem is there, and then especially the youth.
How much do you think women have got space in the campaigns? Women issues are being addressed or not, or what is like for a common normal women voter in Meghalaya? What are the issues?
As far as women issues are concerned, what is close to my heart is the fact that especially women, especially in the rural areas, need to be given basic amenities, as in terms of childcare, in terms of women health, So those are the things which I feel are very, very important, because when a woman is healthy, she's a healthy person in the house, I think she can take care of her family better.
Would you like to play 2 lines from any of your Khasi songs, which kind of signifies what the people of Meghalaya are looking forward to in terms of the polling day?
Oh
barba kadai kador basno hale kadai kador barba ladon manu mayap desi kadai kambasa bertas no kasi kadai kani bashong shitam kaktin ni dai ban ra ni dai ban kurkum nong yalam oi kyu oi kyu
Kinong pertagig ang kalung baro kikindekret Uksaw hajing lingo utay hangtay usngap hijar Srim kayo trong seng hangta kamyaw takal linyar Pertas nong kasi kaday gani basyong shitam Kaktin ni day banra ni day bantuk umang yalam Oy kyu Oy kyu
Now moving on, US President Joe Biden has said that MasterCard Chief Executive Ajay Banga is being nominated to lead the World Bank. Banga, who's 63 years old, is an Indian American and currently serving as the Vice Chairman at equity firm German Atlantic. He spoke to my colleague Vishnu Shom yesterday. Listen in.
Firstly, you know, I follow the Indian Army very closely, and I was very interested to learn that your father was a general in the Indian Army and that you were inspired, and it's helped you obviously professionally in the level of interest he paid to his driver, to his security guard, to everyone, the sense of respect. Is that sense of respect to everybody who you work with something that's made you one of India's finest global corporate achievers?
Gosh, I don't know about the last part. You're
No,
giving
it's
me too
true,
much credit.
but answer the question. It's true, but carry on with your answer.
I believe that two things are critical to success as a leader: humility and humor. And I've said this many times, and I think humility comes from knowing that there's somebody bigger than you always, that you can learn from everybody, Vishnu. And that to me is really important. My dad taught me that. So have other leaders I've been privileged to work with. I've had some great role models who have taught me that humility, the fact that you can learn, that you can interact, that you can treat everybody with respect, with a hand on their back and not in their face, what we in our company called our decency quotient. Not just your IQ or your EQ, but your DQ. Bring your heart and mind to work. That's humility. And humor is the ability to laugh at yourself and a situation. It diffuses tension, it enables people to focus on the positive, and it enables camaraderie. I think humor done the right way and humility are two huge assets.
One final question. How much of your success do you owe to IIM? I saw a photograph of yours from back in the day with some friends. We've got it up on screen. Voila.
Yeah. My God, where'd you get that photograph
I found
from?
it on
That's
the
a
internet.
bunch of pals.
I found it on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Twitter. I think.
Yeah. Well, yes. I think the IIM was amazing. I think it taught me that this humility again was driven home. I came out of being a very high-performing student in school and college. You come to the IIM, everybody is as good as you. And very quickly you learn you've got to find a way to build your own relationships with people who are as good as you. And you can't just be who you are thinking, boy, I'm really good at my work. You're not. You've got to learn how to deal with people and give everybody respect. And the second is it taught me a way of thinking, Vishnu. The biggest thing I learned from the IIM was a way of thinking through a problem. Break it down into its component pieces. Try and distill what is the issue in each of those. Have a set of criteria to evaluate alternative ideas. Create alternative solutions. Evaluate them and then take a call and make a risk-based call. I love that framework. I use it all the time. It's who I am. It's the way I lead my life. And I think I owe a lot of it to both my colleagues and my teachers and the environment of the IIM in Ahmedabad.
All right, Mr. Banga, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Now moving on, as several cases have emerged of dogs attacking people and especially little kids, the Telangana High Court has pulled up the civic body after a boy in Hyderabad was mauled to death by a pack of dogs. The High Court blamed negligence on part of the municipal corporation for the boy's death. Here's a report.
More incidents of dog bites reported in Hyderabad after the horrific death of 5-year-old Pradeep, mauled by a pack of dogs on Sunday. The Telangana High Court that took up the case suo moto blamed the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation of negligence leading to the death and demanded to know what steps have been taken. The state government held a series of emergency meetings to finalize an action plan to intensify animal birth control protocol to achieve 100% sterilization of stray dogs, strict action against illegal dumping of raw meat by chicken and mutton shops and food discards by hotels and function halls, drinking water facility for street dogs as water stress creates panic and can make them ferocious, mobile app to track pet shops, pets and owners, targeted strategy for areas with dense dog population. With anger and anxiety growing among citizens and tensions mounting between dog lovers and those who fear dogs, the administration wants to reach out to all residents associations and school students.
एक एरिया में डॉग्स ज़्यादा हो के ज़्यादा हो गया, ज़्यादा होने के बाद ये बच्चे लोग वो लोग फिरे तो उसके ऊपर आके उसको काट रहे. अगर और एक बात क्या है, जो लोग खाना लगा रहे उसको खाना लगा से जो अरे आज खाना लगाता बोल के कुत्ता पूरा एक ही टाइम उधर आ जाता 10, 15, 20 ऐसा, उससे और प्रॉब्लम ज़्यादा हो रहा.
कभी कभी भूल जाते हैं तो गुस्सा भी आ जाता है कुत्तों को.
हाँ कुत्ते को गुस्सा आ जाते. और जो कुछ खाना लगा रहे ना उसको बोल रहे हम भी डॉग लवर है, फिर भी नक्को लगाओ, लगाए तो ऐसा पूरा जमा होता, ये स्ट्रीट में फिरना बोले तो मुश्किल होता बोल के भी बोले तो वो लोग नहीं सुन रहा.
Experts also point out that dogs are not per se aggressive.
Generally dogs attack जब करते हैं जब वो कुछ threat feel करते हैं, कुछ सामने वाला हमको कुछ करने वाला है, उस situation में there are some incidents where the dog can attack. जैसा कि उनके हाथ में कोई पत्थर हो या लकड़ी हो या भागने की कोशिश कर रहा है, तो some dogs can react. But generally जो स्ट्रीट पे रहते हैं वो अपने आप अपना उनका एक सोसाइटी है उसमें आराम से रहते हैं, आने वाले जाने वाले तो कुछ करते भी नहीं. But these seasonal things can instigate short of food, female in heat, threat to their safety. ऐसा कुछ situation हो तो that can trigger.
Officers admit that just by declaring a 100% sterilization target for stray dogs, the problem is not going to be solved. But they point out that by adhering to the animal birth control protocol, the population of canines has been brought down in the last 12 years from 8.5 lakh to 5.5 lakh. And of them, 4 lakh are already sterilized and have got a rabies shot. The next step is of course sensitization to ensure that humans and animals can live together. In Hyderabad with camera person Nagaraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Welcome back. BRS leader and Telangana Chief Minister KCR's daughter, K. Kavita, yesterday in an exclusive interview to NDTV, launched an attack on Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP. Now, she spoke on issues ranging from opposition unity and the political ambitions of her father to the arrest of Congress spokesperson Pavan Khera. She also attacked the Congress, saying that the Congress needs to be a team player, not a leader when it comes to opposition unity. Listen in.
The BJP always keeps asking this, question to the opposition when you say that we have a model and we are making a pitch,
yes.
For a national ambition as far as your party is concerned. Every party has the right to do that. But BJP says this is what the real opposition dichotomy is. Mr. KCR, Mamata Banerjee, Mr. Nitish Kumar, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, Rahul Gandhi, all of them want to be the chief contenders against Narendra Modi in 2024. Is KCR the chief contender?
See, I think BJP and Modi ji forget their own past. It is not very far. 10 years back, Modi ji marketed himself and said, I've worked for Gujarat. Gujarat model is what I want to do across the nation. And people believed in him. People voted for him. But he utterly failed to deliver all of his promises. Now, when a leader fails to replicate his model of the state at the national level, and when another leader comes to do the same, what is the problem?
But
Gujarat model and Telangana model are entirely different. Telangana model is much better model because we've shown results on the ground. Whereas Mr. Modi, who promised to give 2 crores job every year, has failed. Whereas Mr. KCR, who promised to give 1 lakh government jobs, gave 2.5 lakhs government jobs. Whereas we've gotten more than 2,000 units of industrial units and got 30 lakh jobs.
But
now, is government, Modi government has around 12 lakh jobs empty. They're not even announcing, they're not even publishing. Why not?
Ma'am, but you didn't answer my question.
Which is?
Is KCR Garu the chief opponent of Narendra Modi in 2024? Is that the pitch that the BRS wants to make?
No, the BRS wants to make a pitch that this particular government led by Modi ji should go, because they've been very autocratic in thinking. They've not worked with the states in any developmental aspects. They've completely shifted their focus from development to only development of their friends and party, which is what we do not like. And we believe the country should react to it. And if we can be enabler for that change, we will certainly be there. And not only KCR, Mamta, a KCR, a Stalin Garu, or anybody can tomorrow lead an Arvind Kejriwal, anybody tomorrow can lead. It is not about the leader. It is about the change that BRS is proposing. It is about the people's agenda that BRS is proposing. That is the topic.
But we saw that, Mr. KCR also, when there was a big rally in your state, Arvind Kejriwal was invited, the Aam Aadmi Party was invited, there was few other political leaders, Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan was there. But you sort of kept an arm's length distance as far as the Congress is concerned. So that brings the question that, is the main aim the regional rivalry between political parties, or is there a larger national narrative and the agenda to defeat the BJP?
See, how is Congress better than BRS today, you tell me? Congress is in power in only 3 states. In other 3 states, they are just sharing power. Aam Aadmi Party is already in power in 2 states. Other parties like Akhilesh Yadav's party wields a lot of power across the Hindi belt. How is Congress better than any of these parties is point 1. Point 2, if Congress believes that this particular government has to go in the interest of the nation, then it is also the responsibility of the Congress. Why is it always a responsibility of regional parties to do something for this nation? It is the so-called national parties like Congress party, which is now nothing but a bigger regional party. It is also their responsibility towards our citizens. If you really need change, if you want change, why don't you bend down, come to us, talk to all of us?
So do you think the onus is arrogance of the Congress party? Because this is something not only being used by you, but a lot of other opposition parties and regional parties have said that Congress needs to bend a little bit more. But, just yesterday, we heard Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge saying that 2024 there is going to be a Congress-led opposition government.
See, that's a problem. You have to rub shoulders with us. You cannot say you will lead us. All I'm saying is Congress today has to be a good team player. It should not aspire to be a team leader. Leader will emerge according to the situation. There is something called as, in politics always, a situation and equation works, that the Congress should understand. If Congress is believing that it is 1980s Congress, 1960s Congress, that is not the case. You did not enjoy the power unilaterally across the nation today. So you have to be a team player. You cannot aspire to be a team leader and try and say we will not work with them, Let a consensus emerge at a later point of time.
150 seats, if you go by the national data, 150 seats is Congress versus BJP, a straight fight. And we have seen that in those straight fights, the BJP has almost a 90% strike rate of success. Does that in some way also tells you that the Congress party possibly needs to treat all the regional parties as maybe equal partners? You
said it yourself. If Congress doesn't stand chance in those 150 places where there is a straight fight with BJP, they better take the local support. We have done great job. We know our people. We know our conscience. Why don't you take help of the people, whoever there are? If the 100 seats, there is a direct competition between BJP, Congress, and Congress is on the back footing, then they need some backing. That is why I say they should bend down. They cannot be arrogant as they have always been. They should understand the reality, and if they are sincere about this, protecting this country's future, they should do that.
You think there should be first some understanding with Congress, with other opposition parties, in the interest of what the opposition says for 2024 larger picture, before they can decide on who is going to be the chief prime minister if the opposition is able to defeat? I mean, should it be elections on 543 seats and then you decide later after the election, or should there be a pre-poll alliance that gives a national narrative?
See, first of all, today everybody understands that BJP is their principal opposition party, be it Congress or be it any regional party. Who's not with BJP is against BJP. That is what BJP has clearly drawn a line, and all of us are there. Now, if our aspiration is strongly to bring down BJP, then it is always better if we sit, discuss, even if we don't, give your best fight, post-poll you can decide. But the point here is, if you're pointing fingers at each other and not at the common enemy, then losers will be people here, not the political parties. The sooner Congress party understands that, the better it is.
Because when it comes to Telangana, just last question on that, when it comes to Telangana and the state politics, the Congress usually, they are a player in that state. They are at least, trying to fight a election there as well. They say that TRS and all the opposition parties, then they end up helping the BJP because they are not aligning themselves with the Congress party.
As joke of the decade, because it is always not other regional parties' responsibility. It is not BRS's responsibilities to fight with BJP alone. If Congress is sincere in the fight, let them come out. Leave the arrogance. If you are interested only in winning states, be confined to there. But BRS today wants to work across the nation. Wherever our strength can be, wherever we can garner support, wherever we can make friendship, wherever we can make alliances, we are going to do that.
But you're open to an alliance or some sort of talks with the Congress party?
That the Congress's responsibility. It is not my responsibility nor my party's place to say what it is. Let the situation emerge and we will think accordingly.